You want to be great, learn to be alone, because no one's coming to save you. No one's going to hold your hand when you're broken, bleeding, and tired. You want strength. Stop chasing company. Start building character. When it's 4:30 a.m. and the world is sleeping, you move, you get up, you go to war with your weaknesses, you forge your discipline in silence, not for applause, not for validation, but because your mission demands it. The crowd, it's a distraction. The noise, useless. When you're alone, you're dangerous. Why? Because you hear the voice that matters most, your own. That voice tells you, keep going. That voice says, pain is the signal, push harder. That voice screams, you don't stop when you're tired, you stop when you're done. People talk about being unstoppable like it's a gift. It's not, it's a choice. A relentless choice made every single day when no one's watching. Be alone, be focused, be lethal. Discipline equals freedom, so wake up, get after it, and remember, you were not born to blend in, you were born to break through. Solitude builds strength, not weakness. This truth is uncomfortable because most people associate being alone with being broken, unwanted, or left behind. But that's the lie, that's the excuse, the reality. Solitude is the gym where mental toughness is trained. It's where clarity is forged, discipline is sharpened, and inner power is born. When you're alone, there's no one to distract you, no noise to drown out your excuses. You face yourself, and that's the real battlefield. That's where most people break because they can't stand the silence. But warriors, leaders, people who conquer, they embrace it. Because silence isn't the absence of progress, it's the presence of focus. You don't grow when you're constantly surrounded by opinions. You grow when it's just you, your goals, and the grind. Solitude strips you down to what matters. No audience, no applause, just sweat, pain, and purpose. That's the test, and if you pass it, you become something most people will never be: self-reliant. Strength comes from standing alone when it's easier to lean on others, from doing the work when no one else sees it, from grinding in the dark so you can shine in the light. Solitude gives you that edge. It forces you to lead yourself, and if you can lead yourself, you can lead others, but it starts in the quiet. It starts in the lonely hours before the sun rises, when you decide to show up anyway. Look around. Everyone's trying to stay connected, stay validated, stay liked. But very few are building something inside that doesn't need likes. Strength doesn't come from comfort. It comes from choosing the hard path. And solitude is hard. That's why it works. That's why it's necessary. You want to build strength. Lock in when others check out. Find discipline in isolation. Make solitude your ally, not your enemy. You don't need the noise. You don't need constant motivation. You need ownership. You need command over your mind. Alone doesn't mean lost. It means focused. It means no distractions. It means you're not wasting time on people who don't understand your mission. It means building in silence. So one day, your results make all the noise. Stop fearing solitude. Use it. Let it harden you. Let it shape you. Let it teach you how strong you really are. When the world goes quiet, and it's just you and the standard you've set for yourself. And when you come out of that silence, you won't just be strong. You'll be unstoppable. You don't need a crowd. You need clarity. Most people chase attention because they think visibility equals value. But that's a trap. The noise of the crowd doesn't validate your mission. It distracts you from it. You don't need people cheering you on to do what needs to be done. You need to be clear on who you are, what you're doing, and why it matters, regardless of who's watching. The crowd gives you momentary hype. Clarity gives you lifelong direction. One will fade, the other will last. In the silence, in the solitude, in the absence of applause. That's where clarity shows up. That's when you strip everything back and face what actually matters. Your goals, your values, your principles, your discipline. That's the foundation. The crowd won't build that for you. You've got to build it in the dark. People waste years performing for others, trying to prove themselves, trying to impress people who don't even matter. But the real ones, the focused ones, they don't move for applause, they move for purpose. They don't wake up hoping someone validates them. They wake up knowing their mission and executing with precision. Crowds create confusion. One voice says go this way, another says stop, another says speed up. If you listen to all of them, you'll go nowhere, you'll be paralyzed, but clarity cuts through that noise. Clarity doesn't care about trends, likes, or external approval. It knows where it's going, and it gets there one disciplined step at a time. Don't chase being seen, chase being grounded, grounded in your vision, grounded in your routine, grounded in your execution, because when the crowd disappears, and it will, you better have something real inside of you. If you don't, you'll fall, but if you've got clarity, you don't need the crowd. You become the force, you lead yourself. The crowd is temporary, clarity is power. When you're clear, you make better decisions. You stop second guessing, you stop looking around, you stop waiting, you start building, you start sharpening, you start doing the work with or without recognition. That's where the winners separate themselves from the people who need to be seen to the people who do what's necessary whether they're seen or not. You don't need to be liked, you don't need to be noticed. You need to be certain of your goals, certain of your discipline, certain of your path, and that certainty, that clarity, it doesn't come from the crowd. It comes from being real with yourself. It comes from locking in, blocking out the noise, and going all in on what actually matters. Get clear, get focused, get dangerous, because when you know exactly who you are and where you're going, no crowd can stop you. Discipline starts when the excuses end. That's the moment the game changes. The second you stop explaining away your failures, stop blaming your circumstances, and stop waiting for the right time, that's when discipline takes over. That's when the real work begins. Excuses are easy. Excuses are comfortable. They give you a way out. They protect your ego, but they destroy your potential. Every time you say, "I'm too tired," "I don't have time," or "it's not the right day," you're building a habit of weakness. You're choosing comfort over growth, and that choice will cost you every single day. Discipline isn't about motivation. It's not about how you feel. It's about doing the work no matter what. It's about showing up when no one's watching. It's about locking in on the mission when your body's screaming to quit. And that level of commitment only begins once you stop making excuses. Excuses keep you average. They keep you small, but you weren't built for average. You weren't designed to coast through life waiting for a break. You were built to dominate. And that domination starts with a decision to eliminate excuses and replace them with execution. You'll never rise while you're still explaining why you're stuck. You'll never win if you're constantly defending your limitations. That's the difference between the strong and the weak. The strong take ownership. The strong say, "This is on me, and I will fix it." That's the beginning of discipline. That's where champions are made. Discipline is brutal. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for perfect timing. It demands action. It demands consistency. And it demands that you hold the line, even when no one else does. Especially then, because that's when your character is forged. That's when you become unbreakable. You say you want success. You say you want strength, power, progress, then prove it, not with words. Not with empty motivation, but with action, daily, relentlessly. That's discipline. It's not flashy, it's not fun, but it works every single time. No one cares about your reasons. No one is coming to rescue you from the life you're refusing to take control of. It's you vs you, and the only way you win that war is with discipline. The kind that doesn't wait for permission, the kind that doesn't fold under pressure, the kind that shows up over and over again until results are forced into existence. So end the excuses, burn them, walk away from the stories you tell yourself to feel better, and choose something better. Choose discipline, because when the excuses end, you begin. Loneliness is a weapon, if you master it. Most people run from it. They see it as a weakness, as something to escape, as something to fear. But for those who understand it, for those who embrace it and use it with intention, loneliness becomes a tool. A tool that forges mental steel, sharpens vision, and breeds warriors. When you're alone, you face yourself. No filters, no distractions, no noise to hide behind. Just you, your choices, your thoughts, your pain. And that's uncomfortable for a reason. It exposes the gaps in your character. It reveals the soft spots. It puts your weaknesses under a spotlight, and that's exactly why it's powerful. Because in that silence, in that stillness, you have a chance to confront the truth and fix it. You have the chance to become something more, something unshakable, something dangerous, but only if you don't run, only if you lean in. You see, loneliness strips away the need for validation. It forces you to rely on internal drive. You stop working for applause. You stop chasing attention. You start building from the inside out. You start training your mind to lead itself, to push through the dark, to stay locked in when others would break. The world is addicted to noise, addicted to attention, addicted to being seen, liked, shared. But when you pull away from that, when you sit in the quiet with purpose, you become sharp. You become focused. You develop the discipline to act without needing permission or approval. That's what makes you dangerous, because now you're not reacting to the world. You're commanding yourself. You're setting the tone. You're moving with intent. And when everyone else is lost in the crowd, you're in the shadows building, training, thinking, preparing. And when the time comes, when the opportunity shows up, you don't flinch. You strike, but that edge doesn't come from comfort. It comes from isolation. It comes from spending time in the hard places, alone. It comes from mastering the loneliness that most people drown in. You don't just survive it. You thrive in it. You turn it into strength. You weaponize it. Because once you're no longer afraid of being alone, once you've built yourself in that silence, you become untouchable. You don't need the crowd. You don't need the hype. You've got something better. Command over yourself. Loneliness, when mastered, becomes clarity. It becomes focus. It becomes control. It becomes the space where your greatest evolution happens. It's not a weakness. It's not a punishment. It's a proving ground, a battlefield. And if you endure it, if you conquer it, nothing can stop you. Nothing can shake you. Nothing can take that strength away. Learn to stand alone. Learn to build alone. Learn to fight alone. Because when you master loneliness, you master yourself. And that's when you become truly unstoppable. Win in the dark so you can dominate in the light. That's the code. That's the mindset. Success isn't created when the spotlight is on. It's earned in the quiet, in the early mornings, in the late nights, when no one's watching and no one cares. That's where the work happens. That's where warriors are made. Most people want to be seen. They want recognition. They want the outcome without the process. But domination doesn't start on the stage, it starts behind closed doors. It starts when you choose discipline over comfort, reps over rest, and sacrifice over distraction. That's the dark. That's the part no one sees, and that's the part that separates you from the pack. The dark is unforgiving. It's lonely, it's cold, but it's honest. It tells you the truth about where you stand. There's no applause in the dark, no likes, no validation, just effort. Just grind. Just you, your standard, and your will to rise. That's where you either level up or fall apart. And if you choose to win there day after day, you become a force that can't be ignored. You want to dominate in the light, earn it. Put in the reps when it's boring. Study when you're tired. Train when everyone else is sleeping. That's the price, because in the dark there are no shortcuts, there are no fakes. The dark reveals everything. It's where the talk ends and the action begins. And when you've done the work, really done the work, it shows. It shows in how you move, how you lead, how you execute. It shows in your mindset. It shows in your preparation. It shows when the pressure hits and you don't flinch, because you've already fought harder battles when no one was watching. Domination in the light isn't luck. It's not talent. It's not hype. It's built in the hidden hours. It's built when you keep your promises to yourself, when you train your mind to push without external reward. That's where confidence comes from. That's where power is built. You win in the dark by showing up with discipline, every day, whether you feel like it or not. You build a habit of doing hard things. You harden your body, sharpen your mind, and prepare your soul for war. That's how you develop the strength to dominate. Because you've already paid the price. You've already suffered for the result. So don't chase the spotlight. Don't crave attention, crave growth, crave resilience, crave the kind of power that can't be faked or bought. Build yourself when it's quiet. Build yourself when it's hard. Build yourself when no one cares. Because when the light comes, when your moment arrives, you won't need to pretend. You'll be ready, you'll be real, you'll dominate, and everyone will wonder how, but you'll know you earned it in the dark. Be your own commander, no backup required. That's the mindset that forges warriors, not followers. Too many people are waiting for guidance, for permission, for support. They want someone to lead them, someone to push them, someone to motivate them. But here's the truth. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anything. If you need backup to move, you'll never move far. Real strength comes from within. You are your own commander. your own motivator, your own driver. That means when the plan falls apart, you don't freeze, you adapt. When the pain sets in, you don't fold, you press forward. When there's no one left to call, no one left to text, you don't break, you lead. That's command, that's power, that's ownership. You don't wait for orders, you give them to yourself. You don't need a crowd to hold you accountable, you hold the line. You don't need someone yelling in your face to fire you up. Your mission is enough. Because when the mission matters, when your standard is non-negotiable, discipline becomes your default. You move not because someone told you to, but because that's who you are. Being your own commander means taking full responsibility. No blaming, no pointing fingers, no excuses, just decisions and consequences. You own your failures, you own your wins, you own the process. That kind of leadership doesn't just make you strong, it makes you dangerous. Because you become the kind of person who doesn't flinch in chaos, doesn't stall in adversity, and doesn't quit when the odds turn ugly. And yes, it's hard, it's supposed to be. It's easier to rely on others. It's easier to wait, but easy never made anyone great. Easy never made anyone unshakable. So you stop waiting. You stop looking for help that may never come. You build the strength to stand alone and lead anyway. You plan, you execute, you reassess, you grow, and you do it without needing a pat on the back. That's what real command looks like, not barking orders at others, but holding yourself to the highest possible standard. Not needing backup to take action, but being ready always. There's freedom in that level of control. There's power in knowing you don't need anyone to start, to endure, to finish. You are enough. You've got the discipline, the drive, the focus to push through whatever stands in your way. You're not waiting for reinforcements. You are the reinforcement. You're not looking for direction. You've already set the course. Be your own commander, not once, not sometimes, but every single day. When you rise, you decide the tone. When you fall, you decide the lesson. When you move with purpose, not permission. And that kind of leadership, it creates warriors, it creates machines, it creates people who don't just survive, they dominate.